It's Monday, November the 23rd, and welcome to the reading of the Record Courier. My name is Pam, and we will begin with the area deaths. Sandra C. Snyder, 84, of Lower Salem, formerly of Randolph, passed away on Saturday, November 7th. Family and friends will be received on Saturday, November 28th at the Wood Courtright Borkowski Funeral Home in Ravenna from 11 a.m. until the memorial service beginning at noon. It is required that everyone attending visitation and service wear a mask and practice social distancing. Teresa, known as Terry G. Kalis, 62, of Shalersville, passed away Thursday, November 19th, at University Hospital in Cleveland after a 3-week battle with COVID-19. Tuesday, November 24th, at Short Spicer Crisplet Funeral Home in Streetsboro Chapel. Masks are required, and you are asked to pay your respects quickly and do not linger at the funeral home. Funeral services will be at 10 a.m. Wednesday, November 25th. Charles N. Gump, 69, of Newton Falls, passed away suddenly at his residence on Friday, November 20th. Family will receive friends to celebrate his life on Tuesday, November 24th at the Wood Courtright Borkowski Funeral Home in Ravenna from 5 to 7 p.m. It is required everyone attending wear a mask and practice social distancing. Larry Chester Malobensky, age 72, passed away on November 20th after battling throat cancer. A private burial will be held in Hiram with a memorial service at a later date. John S. Resnick Jr., 94, of Kent, passed away on November 18th from complications of COVID at University Hospital, Portage. A celebration of life will be held at a later date due to current world conditions. Dolores, known as D. J. Malinzak, 82, of Ravenna, passed away Thursday, November 19th. A memorial mass may be held at a later date. Marilyn J. Carter, 83, passed away on Saturday, November 14th, after a brief illness. Cremation has taken place, and there will be no services per her request. Robert Schrader, 73, of Mogadore, passed away on Saturday, November 14th, at Akron City Hospital. Memorial will be at a later date due to the COVID-19. Samuel, known as Sam Caleb Wilson, age 30, passed away on November 15th. Family and friends will be received Sunday, November 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. and Monday, November 23rd from 10 to 11 a.m. at Hopkins Laver Funeral Home, 547 Canton Road, where funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. on Monday. Jeannie F. Paulus, 89, of Rootstown, died November 13th at Long Meadow Care Center. Funeral services will be held at 10 a.m. on Saturday, December 5th, at St. Peter of the Fields Church. That concludes the death notices listed in today's online edition of the Record Courier, and let's begin now with our first article. A stay-at-home advisory issued in Portage as cases rise, by Diane Smith and Caitlin McGarvey. Citing a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations, the Portage County Health District has issued a stay-at-home advisory. Portage County Health Commissioner Joseph DiOrio said the advisory, which began Friday, will be in effect for 28 days through Thanksgiving and almost till Christmas, or until such time as the Portage County Health District determines a change to the guidance is appropriate. The state reported 8,808 new cases on Friday, eclipsing the 8,071 record set a week ago. DiOrio said the steps suggested in his advisory are critical to preventing the spread of the virus, protecting the lives of you and your loved ones, and preserving our acute and other healthcare services and capacity. He said intervention is needed to mitigate case growth and preserve hospital capacity. The advisory strongly recommends that residents should avoid traveling in and out of the state and forego having guests in their home during the upcoming holiday season. The advisory also reminds residents to adhere to all orders from Governor Mike DeWine, including an advisory on indoor and outdoor meetings and social events. The state's limit on mass gathering limits, such as gatherings to 10 individuals. Residents, the advisory states are strongly advised not to have indoor gatherings with guests from other households. Maintenance and general household repairs using hired workers, such as plumbing, heating, and electrical repairs, can continue, provided that preventative measures such as masks and physical distancing are used. Residents who have any symptoms of COVID-19 are asked to shelter in their homes and should not go to their workplace or other congregate settings. Those who are diagnosed with COVID-19 should quarantine for 14 days and stay separate from others in their household. Employers, the advisory states are strongly encouraged to allow as many of their employees to work from home, and businesses and local governments should conduct business remotely if at all possible, rather than hosting in-person functions. Schools are encouraged to take steps to limit case numbers and consider shifts to alternative learning, such as hybrid virtual. Kent Mayor Jerry Fiala told the Record Courier that his city will follow mandates put forward by DeWine and the state of Ohio. Though Kent is not currently part of the county's stay-at-home advisory, he said administration will consider it and decide if it is in the best interest of Kent residents. As of most discussions, the city of Kent is not considered implementing its own advisory. A Kent man was charged with theft and fraud in an alleged $1 million scheme against the Cleveland VA by Jeff Saunders. A federal grand jury has returned a 28-count indictment alleging that a Kent man used his position with the Cleveland Veteran Affairs Medical Center to fraudulently make more than $1 million in purchases from a company he controlled and to enter into a kickback scheme with another company, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office from the Northern District of Ohio. According to the indictment, William H. Precht, 53, began working at the Cleveland VA in April 1997 as a pharmacy technician and was an inventory management specialist from July 2012 to April 2016. His duties included lead procurement authority for the medical center's surgical service, anesthesia service, and pain management. In April 2016, he was transferred to the position of Supervisory Management and Program Analyst in Surgical Services. Here, his duties included administrative oversight of the medical center's operating rooms, surgical intensive care unit, and outpatient surgery center, as well as overseeing, coordinating requests for, and monitoring major capital equipment purchases. The indictment alleges that from on or about October 5, 2010 through on or about February 16, 2018, Precht fraudulently used his VA-issued purchase card and facilitated the use of other VA employees' purchase cards to make purchases from a company controlled by Precht, referred to in the indictment as Vendor 1, a purported medical sales company located in Kent, Ohio, for nearly $1.07 million. In addition, the indictment alleges that from on or about May 27, 2015 through on or about January 4, 2019, Precht allegedly conspired with a South Euclid medical supplies company referred to in the indictment as Vendor 2 to devise a scheme in which Precht would receive kickbacks and other items of value in exchange for steering VA business and other monetary awards to the company. Allegedly, it was part of the conspiracy that Precht would solicit and accept items of value from the vendor, such as money, sporting events tickets, and future business interest. Precht would then allegedly provide favorable actions for the benefit of alleged unidentified co-conspirators and the South Euclid Company when the opportunity arose. Precht is also accused of allegedly concealing this activity from the Cleveland VA by providing false and misleading information to VA employees about reasons for ordering medical supplies and of allegedly falsifying some patient records to make it appear patients had implants in their electronic health records that did not correlate to any actual surgical or medical procedures to justify the purchase of implants. Precht is charged with 1 count each of theft of government property and conspiracy to commit wire fraud and honest service fraud. 3 counts of wire fraud, 22 counts of false statements relating to healthcare matters, according to U.S. 6th District Court of the Northern District of Ohio records. Preck's attorney could not immediately be reached for comment. The investigation preceding the indictment was conducted by the Department of Veterans Affairs, Office of the Inspector General, Cleveland, and the Cleveland Division of the FBI. Wow. The Ravenna City Township still at odds over Maple Grove Cemetery by Diane Smith. Ravenna City and Township are at odds over whether a tax levy should help fund Maple Grove Cemetery. City Council is considering the idea, while Township trustees remain opposed. Maple Grove, though now located entirely within city limits, was once the Township Cemetery. In 1995, the Township sued the city, arguing that because the cemetery was in the city should maintain it, and Portage County Common Pleas Court ruled in Township's favor. Later, however, trustees approached the city seeking to be involved with cemetery operations, and a union cemetery agreement was formed. However, Township trustees have since asked the city to let them out of the joint agreement, citing rising costs and the additional burden of also operating Grandview Cemetery, which the township took over when its owners were sent to prison for defrauding customers. City Councilman Rob Karras outlined a series of potential options to council, including a potential tax levy, which he said couldn't take effect until 2022. He said a joint panel of city and township officials could put the levy on the tax duplicate without going to the ballot, he said. Township officials, he said, recently brought up other options, including a fixed contribution from the township. But unless that contribution is based on appraised property values as outlined in the Ohio Revised Code, Karras said he was not sure the pact would still be a union cemetery agreement. Who do you think is paying for this cemetery right now, he said. It's the taxpayers. They'd be paying for it in a different way. Karras said city officials agreed to present the township's concerns to council, and council members asked township representatives to bring their concerns to the trustees. Councilwoman Christina West said with proper planning, some of those issues could be addressed. This does impact our residents, she said. I don't think exploring a levy is a bad idea because we haven't had an increase in the budget, and these things do need fixed. Councilwoman Cheryl Wood said most residents have family members in Maple Grove, and council members hear feedback when things aren't up to par. I think a levy is not out of the realm of possibility, especially for the little amount of money it would cost the taxpayers, she said. Karras said officials need to consider all alternatives and not be too quick to dismiss any ideas. This is just the beginning stages, he said. I just think that before we engage in a discussion of letting them off the hook, we need to consider all alternatives. Trustees and council held a joint meeting in October during which they failed to come to a resolution. A subsequent joint meeting was to take place last week, but was canceled. And now, family members and fans are not permitted to attend Kent State home games during the winter season by Alan Moff. Family members and fans will not be permitted to attend Kent State athletic events at the Mack Center during the 2021 season due to issues and concerns associated with COVID-19. Only participants and game day personnel will be given access to men's and women's basketball, gymnastics, volleyball, and wrestling home events during the upcoming season. Media members are considered game day personnel. Members of the Kent State Band, Cheer, and Dance Squad will also not be in attendance. If conditions regarding COVID-19 allow, and if state guidelines permit, Kent State intends to host senior nights when limited family members of seniors would be able to attend. The Golden Flashes football team will hold Senior Day on December 12th, when Ohio University visits Dix Stadium. Parents of the senior class of football players will be able to attend that contest along with the parents of senior band, cheer, and dance team members. No fans were permitted to attend the first 2 home football games of the 2020 season earlier this month. I fully support our continued measures that the university is putting in place our games to help prevent the spread of COVID-19, says KSU Director of Athletics Joel Nielsen. The health and safety of our student athletes, coaches, staffs, and community remain as the forefront of this decision. We look forward to the day when everyone can cheer on our teams together again. In the meantime, we encourage you to watch on our streaming platforms and listen to the events on the Kent State Radio Network. This decision is being made in response to Portage County's current COVID-19 risk level 3 red status. Planners, OK Firearms Business for the Kent Neighborhood by Caitlin McGarvey. Despite concerns from neighbors and in a divided vote, Kent planners have given the go-ahead to a business that will offer background checks and a place for customers to have firearms delivered. Jessica West, owner of West Arms FFL LLC, will operate her business out of the east unit of her duplex at 772 West Main Street. She owns the building and lives in one side. West said the business isn't a gun store, but instead will focus on providing background checks. By law, firearms purchased online must be shipped to a federal firearms license holder, which is what West will be. Customers will have the option to send their purchases to her. West said an adult will have to sign for all packages, and packages containing guns will not be left on her doorstep. After delivery, she says, the firearm will then be placed in a secure safe until the buyer picks it up. West told the Record Courier that all packages for West Arms FFL LLC will most likely be held at the carrier for pickup and not delivered to her doorstep. After receiving the firearms in the mail, West said she will arrange individual appointments with their purchasers. She will then perform a background check on the buyer, and upon passing, the gun will be retrieved from the safe and the buyer will leave with their purchase. If the customer fails the background check, the gun does not go to the purchaser but is returned to its original sender. It works just like a gun shop, but with all the bulk inventory and traffic, West said. West lives in a zoning district that conditionally allows home businesses. The Kent Planning Commission this week granted West a conditional zoning certificate and okayed a site plan review. West's dwelling must be inspected by both the Chief's Building Office and fire prevention officers to make sure it meets code standards. Other conditions to her permit include a technical plan review, evidence of a federal firearms license from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives when it is obtained, and some parking space signage. The ATF will then perform an initial inspection and audit books and records randomly throughout the life of the license. Failure to present proper records could result in its loss. West had to make sure her home was properly zoned before she could begin an application for a basic FFL, which would allow her to perform transfers of basic firearms. It will not allow her to deal in the sales of automatic weapons or short barrel rifles. She was eventually granted approval after a 3-2 vote, Commissioners Jeffrey Clapper and Christopher Clevenger Morris voting against the motion. Kent Assistant Law Director Eric Fink said West could not expand her business into a full gun dealership because that's not permitted under a home occupation use. To start, West said she projects having 5 to 15 customers a week. The maximum she said she thinks she can facilitate is 25. The background check she will use is the same one the FBI uses through the ATF database. The process takes between 15 and 45 minutes to complete. During that time, the client waits for the check to complete. Checks must be performed each time, even if a client is a repeat customer. The Commission voiced some concerns about whether West met the requirement to obtain the conditional zoning certificate. Chiefly, main concerns had to do with traffic interference on surrounding roads, package reception concerns, and whether West would be conducting business entirely within the dwelling. Because her home is not ADA compliant, West said she would conduct business with disabled customers at their vehicles. Clevenger Morris noted the Commission has conditionally added ADA compliance as recently as earlier this year. During public comment, Councilman Jack Armheim said he had received countless calls from concerned citizens about safety and fear of drop-in property value. As a councilman, he said, he has no issue with someone purchasing a gun from a gun shop and undergoing a background check. However, he is worried about guns being picked up in a residential area. Other concerns raised, including detriment to the harmony of the neighborhood. West said she believes there are other FFL dealers within a 5-mile radius. A check of the ATF website showed there are 6 companies or individuals that offer the same service in Kent. She told the commission she decided to pursue this business because her family is very passionate about responsible gun ownership. The perks of going to a business like West Arms FFL LLC over a big gun store, West said, are privacy and a cheaper cost. It will operate on weekdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. and select times on weekends. All transactions will be by appointment only. Locks, safes, and safe lawful procedures will be implemented. West told the Record Courier she is also exploring security camera options. No business will be conducted until West is licensed, she said, and hopes to be ready to start by early spring. Up next, Ravenna schools sell board office to be used as a counseling center by Diane Smith. The Ravenna Board of Education recently sold its former Board Office of Education Alternatives, which also owns the former Tappan Elementary School. Superintendent Dennis Hunkala said the house that once served as the headquarters of the district staff sold for the appraised value of $150,000. Education Alternatives just got the keys to the house this week. The board now has its offices at the former Carlin Elementary School, which also hosts the district's preschool program. The district closed Carlin at the end of last year as part of the district's reconfiguration plan that sent all first and second graders to Williard Elementary School, third and fourth graders to West Main Elementary School, and fifth graders to Brown Middle School. Jerry Swartz of Education Alternatives said he plans to use the house for counseling services for students, their parents, and siblings. The building will need some renovation before it's ready to be used, he said. Although the building previously has been used for offices, those offices will need to be soundproofed for privacy. The house is also in need of other renovations, including a wheelchair-accessible restroom on the main level and a waiting room for families. Education Alternatives has 8 schools in Ravenna: Cuyahoga Falls, Springfield, Paintsville, Willoughby, Berea, Brook Park, and Elyria. The organization also leased former Franklin Elementary School in Kent, but the project there never opened because of COVID-19. There are 107 students at the former Tappan School in Ravenna. Although Swartz said his facility operates as schools, they are technically a service provider for students who need a different learning environment. The public schools refer kids to us because they need more than the public schools can offer, he said. Many students, he said, have issues such as autism, emotional disabilities, and a history of trauma. The REACH Counseling Office is expected to open later this spring, he said. Our next article, Neighbors Oppose Plan for Funeral Home Near Aurora High School by Ken Lammers. Whether a Middlefield funeral home operator will be permitted to open up a funeral parlor in the former Masonic Temple building on West Pioneer Trail likely will be decided at the Planning Commission's December 2nd meeting. At a public hearing November 18th, several people opposed Gary Best's request for a conditional zoning certificate so he can locate a funeral home in the building in front of Aurora High School. The panel took no action. The 1.38-acre property is in an R3 residential zoning district. Best claims a funeral home is similar to a cemetery or place of worship, which are conditionally permitted in a residential district. The property is surrounded by city and school district-owned land. The 2-level building was erected in 1968, and the property included a 100-car parking lot. W.K. Ricksecker Masonic Lodge 606 merged with Kent's Rockton Lodge 316 in 2019, and Best said he is under contract to purchase the property. Board of Education President Gerald Kohansky and Superintendent Mike Roberto were among 6 people who opposed granting the conditional zoning certificate. They cited traffic and safety security concerns because of the proximity to AHS and municipal facilities, and argued that a funeral home is not a similar use to a church. The city's Walker Building is adjacent to the property on the west, while Fire Station 1 is about 100 yards down the street to the east. Ball fields are directly across the street, and the city is preparing to build a splash pad on the other side of the fire station. Kohansky said the property would be more suited towards an educational or municipal use, while Roberto urged the planning panel to stick to the restrictions of the R3 zoning. City Councilman Scott Wolf and Peter French also opposed granting the CCZ. They said they don't believe a commercial use is similar to a church, and they cited the high volume of traffic in the area at certain times. Birch Bark Trail resident Cheryl Merkel also was concerned about traffic and claimed the business could negatively impact nearby home values. "I'm not against a funeral home, but not there," she said. "I hope he can find another location." Resident John Verga says he finds Best's proposal totally preposterous. He echoed the sentiments of the others about traffic, proximity to the high school, and other issues. Planning panelists Sarah Gilmore and Kathy Grandillo said they wouldn't want to see emergency vehicles exiting the fire station having to compete with funeral processions going down West Pioneer Trail. And Gilmore questioned what effect seeing ambulances unloading bodies and caskets being carried out of the building might have on students and athletes' emotional well-being. But residents Tony Bandalamente and Debbie Mann pointed out some positives. "There aren't that many funerals in a week, and they would bring in people from out of town to boost Aurora's economy," Mann said. Baldalmente downplayed the safety, traffic, and homes values concerned. "I think this would be a great asset," he said. "I don't see traffic as a big problem. Mr. Best runs a good business, and I think it's logical for him to ask for this. It would bring in tax dollars." With the city not having a funeral home, Best cited figures that $1.22 million in funeral businesses leave the city every year, and championed the economic impact to the city, schools, and other businesses. He cited several area funeral homes that are located in residential neighborhoods. He contended funeral homes and churches share a religious nature. Both are used 7 days a week, and churches can be busier than funeral homes, he noted. "There are not going to be thousands of cars coming to the parlor. The traffic impact would be minimal. It would be stupid to schedule a funeral during school dismissal hours, and it is ridiculous to say the parlor would pose a security risk to students at the high school." When asked if he had considered other vacant buildings in town, Best said he looked at the former Aurora County Club building on Trail's End, but it's too large for his needs, while a couple of other vacant buildings are unsuitable. The Crestwood Lions raffle to benefit 4C's Food Pantry in Manawa. The Crestwood Lions Club is selling raffle tickets to benefit the 4C's Food Bank in Manawa. Tickets are $10 each. First prize is $300 food bundle from Portage Meats in Ritztown. Second prize is a $100 Giant Eagle gift card. And third prize is a $100 Sheetz gift card. Fourth prize is a handmade Afghan valued at $50. Drawings will be held between Thanksgiving and Christmas. To purchase tickets, contact Lions Harold Ullman at 330-221-0018 or any Crestwood Lion member. Well, friends, that concludes the reading of the Record Courier for Monday, November 23rd. My name is Pam. Thank you for allowing me into your home. Please stay safe until we're here together again. Be abundantly blessed and do what you do to make today a great day.